Welcome. Welcome everyone. My name is Janine Hansen. I'm the moderator for the evening with our wonderful candidates who are here, and Molly, who is remote with us, but you can see, I think you can see her there. I live in Wyoming, and very interested in hearing, love Taylor's Falls, very interested in hearing what our candidates for City Council have to say. First of all, I want to thank them for putting their hat in the ring, putting themselves out there, and could we just give them a round of applause? Thank you. Awesome. It takes a lot of guts to put yourself out there. So if you have a question card, if you don't have one, you can grab one. If you do, please turn your questions in over here at the table with Diane, right? Diane. With Diane, and she's going to kind of sort them and make sure if we've got some the same, we ask them one time, not 5 times. You can turn in your question anytime throughout the evening. We're scheduled to go 1 hour, so that I'm sure will go very quickly for the candidates. And what we're going to do to begin, as we're going to have the candidates introduce themselves and what they'd like to say as an introduction. I had them draw cards to see who would go first. And the first one to draw was John, and he gets to go first. So John, Denny, Bob Bayer, Carol Schumann, Molly Irish are our candidates tonight. So go ahead and introduce yourself. What do you want everybody to know about you and why you're here? Thanks.
Thank you. And thanks for having me. Thanks for having this forum. I mean, for a town of this is a great thing that you guys are able to put on so everybody can hear us. My name's John Denny. I'm hearing that not a lot of people know me around town. That's unfortunate. I've been here since 2016. I try to be as active and helpful as I can, but I have an 8 and a 6-year-old, and I'm sure everyone in this room knows how that can go. My Mondays are looking pretty free. You know, the wrestling practices have been shifted to Tuesday, Thursday for this year. So I think that the city council opportunity is something I can make every day. And so looking forward, I guess a little bit about myself. Forest Lake is where I grew up. I graduated, I'm 38 years old. I graduated in 2004. I went to law school at William Mitchell. I've worked in the private sector for most of my life as an appraiser and doing a little bit of legal work after law school as well. And then just recently I became an assessor. So I now assess all of the property in the city of St. Michael as well as other jurisdictions. So I work in local government, whereas before I did a lot of appraisals and worked for local government. And I also do a lot of budget forecasting stuff kind of outside the purview of my department for St. Michael. So in that way, I think I have a lot of experience in this, and I think that I have a lot of connections and people that I think I can tug on to do the kind of things that we need in this town, which is basically, we gotta find some free money. We gotta find grants. I have a lot of experience in looking for that kind of thing, try to cover some of the bases that, you know, have happened here in the past 8 years. I won't put it any different than that. So thanks for having me. Passing it off to Robert.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. That sounded really loud for me. My name is Bob Bayer. I am a new resident to Taylor's Falls. I've only been here for 5 months. And the reason that I'm running is I believe that I can help the other people in the city to make Taylor's Falls a better place to live, work, and visit. And one of the things that I really like to do is get to know you all, first of all. And I've been doing that because I've been doing quite a bit of door-to-door and just finding out what are their biggest concerns about the city. And one of the biggest concerns that has come up as I've been going door-to-door is that our real estate taxes are really high. So I have a big concern about that too. I came from Lima Lakes. I lived there for 35 years. I bought a house for $92,000. I sold it for $459,000. and that $459,000 house was 3,200 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths, and my taxes were less there than they are here, where I have a 2-bedroom house and 1 bath on a single level at 1,400 square feet. My taxes are higher here. So, and I understand that, that might seem like a huge disparity. To me, it seems like a big disparity. So one of the things you need to know about me that I'm a CPA, I'm an MBA. I like to find solutions to problems. So what I like to do is get grants, get help for infrastructure, and that would be from the county, from the state, and do whatever we need to do to get outside money instead of getting it all from residents, and we can do that. I believe we can do that, and we need to find every grant available, every program available that will help the residents here. And I was just thinking about this, and I'll just make this just a little bit brief, is that if we had 200 more homes, you need to know that I don't want to change the small town feeling and ambiance that we have here. I don't want to change that. But if we had 200 more homes, right now we have, I think, 650 residences. So if we had 200 more, that could drop everybody's taxes by a significant amount, 25%, 33%, something like that. So we gotta figure out a way to grow Taylor's Falls and add some commerce as well, so that we are a good place to come, a good place to be. And so I believe that we need to do that to make Taylor's Falls a stronger place. One of the things you need to know about me too is that I'm the treasurer of my church, where the budget is quite a bit larger than the budget of Taylor's Falls. So I'm handling a $2 million budget at our church. So, and we've never missed budget, and the really cool thing there is there are no taxes. So I don't have to deal with that. But I'm married, I have 4 children, I have 10 grandchildren, 4 of which are in Schaefer Township, just a couple miles away. And that's the reason that we moved up here, is to be close to our grandchildren. I really, really want to help. I know that you have been here a lot longer than I, but I want to help. I want to use the skills that I have to help Taylor's Falls. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol. I'm Carol Schumann, and I've lived in Taylor's Falls for 29 years. Kevin and I moved here. Our 3 kids were in preschool and kindergarten and 2nd grade. So essentially, they grew up here, and we're still here, which is just pretty amazing. We love Taylor's Falls. We've always loved Taylor's Falls, and even when we first moved here, I would go up to Walmart and I'd drive down the hill and I think, this is so amazing. And I live here. This is my home. This is my community. And so that's one of the things that kind of drives me as far as wanting to be involved in the city and seeing what we can do to connect with each other. I feel like Taylor's Falls has a very unique situation where we have no high school that brings the community together. We don't have a grocery store that we see each other, greet people. We don't have a newspaper that's just dedicated to our city. And so I think there's a real struggle to communicate what's going on in the city and what the issues are, and really even what people's ideas are. And so that's one of my passions, is I want to really work as a connector. I worked for Chisago County. I was a social worker, and I would say, first of all, I worked for Walmart in the pharmacy, so I sold drugs. And then I went to Hazelden Graduate School and got my master's in drug counseling, and then I tried to help people get off of drugs. But I just feel like, as a social worker, my job was to connect people with resources. And that was probably my most fulfilling part of my work. And so that's what I would like to bring to the table, and working with the citizens of Taylor's Falls and trying to encourage involvement, citizen involvement with our city.
Thank you, Carol. Molly?
Okay, Molly, you want to tell us?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, I'm coming in virtually. We have a family trip planned for a meeting. My name is Molly Irish, and I moved to Taylor's Falls in 2019. I lived there with my 15-year-old son. He went to TF Elementary, and that's really when I fell in love with Taylor's Falls. I'm a 20-year veteran and realtor, and it took me 8 years to get a house in Taylor's Falls. So it was really hard to get into the city of Taylor's Falls. I grew up in Chicago County. I also do most of my real estate in this area. I'm very familiar with a lot of different communities. I think what I bring to the table is that I am a fierce fighter to being a fiduciary for my clients. And that's one of the things I think I can really bring to Taylor's Falls. As far as the money stuff goes, I think we have a lot of great ideas. I'm on the Economic Development Commission, and that we're coming up with a lot of great ideas on ways we can bring money into the town, but also a lot of things that we can do for the residents of the town. I feel like with our community, there is the residents, and then there is the tourists, and the tourists live downtown, and we live in town. I'd like to find some other ways for us to come together as a community. I think that we all want that, and it'd be nice to have more things that are fun for the community to do, not just be kind of residents to the tourists that come on the weekends. So I really spent a lot of time coming up with a lot of ideas of what we can do to make the town better, and I did serve on the budget committee, and I think that I would be a good fiduciary for the residents of the town.
Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. All right, well, John, you got to go first for the first question, or the introductions. So we're gonna take turns here. So Bob, you'll be for the first one for this question, and every candidate will have 1.5 minutes to answer as we go through the rest of the questions. So this one comes from one of the participants here tonight. Thank you for the question. What do you think is the most pressing issue facing the city of Taylor's Falls? So Bob, you get to go first.
From talking to city council members, the mayor, and citizens, the most pressing issue is infrastructure that needs to be updated. That would include sewer, water, accessibility, and making sure that sewer and water can get to people who need it and where we would want to put developments. So right now I think that there possibly is the need for some repairs on the water supplies, and I see that as a big issue, because let's face it, we can't live without water, and we need it to be accessible, and we need it to be affordable. And I would not be surprised if we saw increases in the utility for water supply because of the repairs that need to be done. So, and once again, I want this to be a great place to live and work. And if water is really expensive here, or sewer is really expensive here, that'll be tougher for us to expand and develop. Okay, done.
It's time, thank you. Carol? What is the most pressing issue facing Taylor's Falls?
Yeah, and I would agree with what Bob just said too. A couple weeks ago, there was a sewer, I don't know if it was a crack in the sewer line or something, but a resident ended up with damage in their basement, really extensive damage, and it really did kind of bring to light that things have to be looked at. There has been, I've been attending city council meetings, and there is a study that's going to, I think it actually started already, that is going to look at what does the city need to do to plan for the future, and how can we get the funds, how can we raise funds to take care of these problems, because, you know, we all know that we have bills, and if we don't plan for those bills, if we don't set aside money for those things, then it becomes a crisis. But we can avert crisis by good knowledge, by studying the situation, and then by getting good advice. So I think that's a really pressing need for the city right now, and a concern for the citizens. It's one thing that's been brought up to me too. But I think, you know, we're on the right track in looking into getting some good guidance.
It's time, thank you, Carol. Molly?
Did you hear the question, Molly?
Can you say it one more time, please?
What do you think is the most pressing issue facing the city of Taylor's Falls?
I do think that our budget and money is our biggest concern. And I know that sitting through the budget meetings, everybody is spending a lot of really thoughtful time in how we can create balance. That there are a lot of things in town that we're finding out we're not taking care of. And we're not meeting. And things that need to be addressed. And I know it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of creativity when it comes to the finances. I know that we're all looking at ways where we can look into grant programs to help us, or county money or federal money. So I know, like with the EDC, we've been working with, meeting with everybody in the community that deals with grant money to figure out ways we can bring some income in so that the residents aren't having to be burdened with the cost of the deferred lack of maintenance and stuff. So that would be my biggest thing.
Thank you, Molly. John? 1.5 minutes.
So I'm just gonna bring up a quick fact here, and that is that we're talking out of both sides of our mouth. And we're gonna tell everybody that we can get this all done. We're gonna fix the roads, we're gonna fix the water, we're gonna fix the pipes. But we're also saying, by the way, we can't spend another nickel on taxes, because the reality is we're here, the only grant money that we're gonna be able to bring in the very immediate, I mean, it's gonna be limited, and then there's gonna be continued reporting. If you've worked with grants before, and I've worked many, my wife's a public admin masters and done the grant writing and reporting on the grants, I've seen this movie. I've also seen the movie of we're gonna build 200 more houses and we're gonna spread that tax base out in a small community like this. That sounds good. The reality is when that new construction comes online in the way that property taxes are, it's gonna come online as a way the council's gonna now look at it and say, okay, the levy is X, and now we're gonna have to decide whether or not that money is gonna be spent on the improvements that we're talking about making right now, or if we're gonna leave the levy the same, which is the only way that those new homes contribute to our tax base. And of course, we have to service those new homes with water and infrastructure and sewer. So in the net, it doesn't really work out that way, guys. That's the honest to God truth. Commercial businesses are the best and by far the strongest way to help lower taxes for the residents here. Getting commercial businesses, the mayor's done a good job of that. And I would just throw that out as like, that is gonna be the big thing. We can get grants. Anybody can write a grant. following up on that and pulling the right strings and knowing the people in government is gonna be a big part of what makes those grants come through. That's what I think I
Thank
offer
you.
as a guy who's still working and alive in these fields.
Thank you, that's Tom. Thanks, John. All right, thanks, candidates. Carol, it's your turn to go first. The next question, and I would like to remind you, if you haven't turned in a question, you can turn one in at any time over here to the table with Diane. The next question is, what would you do as a council member to support and retain city staff?
I think that being appreciative of what they do goes a long way in increasing their morale. I think also, I remember when I was working, every review that I had, my supervisor said, and do you have the tools that you need to do your job well? And so we have to look at that to say, is your computer and your programs, are they adequate so that you can do your job most efficiently? So I think we really need to ask those questions and hear from our city staff. But I also know that by appreciating them, by showing our appreciation, then we are going to retain staff because morale will be higher.
So did you hear the question? How do you
Oh,
propose
yeah.
to retain staff?
Yes. Well, I will say that I am so impressed with the staff we have in this right now. I know that they are working so hard on getting things figured out for us. I think it's going to be a matter of really just, yes, I agree with Carol, totally appreciating everything that they're doing and also being able to help in whatever it is they need help with. It's kind of nice. I feel like the city council we have now has been really supportive of the current staff we have. And I know that everybody in the city has been collaborating and putting in a lot of time to try and get things back to working well. So I would like to be able to, volunteer the time to come in and help or be a liaison to the city staff. But we definitely appreciate everything they're doing. They're really great.
Thank you. John?
So, having just recently gotten into working in a city, I can tell you that the biggest thing we can do is offer them a lot of flexibility. I mean, the money thing is going to be what it is. Basically, you're going to do case studies, and we're going to be competitive with the cities around us for stuff like that. The morale is going to be a big issue, like Carol was saying, because of recent events at the city hall. That we absolutely need to. And another thing, Carol, I'm coming together as a community. I think that's a great idea because seriously, we can't afford to have that kind of infighting than what we had a few years ago. Back to the question. So I think flexible work arrangements. I work at the city of St. Michael now because I'm a remote worker. I have staff. I can monitor them remotely. I don't have to make that drive all the time. I can operate from the phone. And that kind of flexibility, we've done this study for various departments across the government, is worth about $20,000 to $25,000 of salary. If you give somebody that ability to work from home and be flexible with that's how much it's worth to them. Specifically for working age people who have kids and other needs. And so I would look into ways like that, and I know that's rough, but we have 3 staff people there. We've spread it out. That's pretty good. We can have someone at the front desk and still accommodate the flexibility for people like Elizabeth.
Well, I believe that the staff that we have right now, they're doing a really good job. I also believe that the mayor and the city council have taken very good care of them and in appreciating them. And we should do that as citizens as well, appreciate the staff. So I agree with Carol and everyone else in that regard. We also have to look at their benefit package as well. And I know that the city council is looking at that right now as well. We're talking about health insurance benefits and other benefits for staff, which I think is really important for the staff in their individual situations. And make sure that we are competitive with cities of our size and the cities around us as well. So if we can take care of them, we should not have the turnover that we've had in the past. And just all make sure that they are greatly appreciated for what they're doing.
Thank you. That's great. Thanks. So that was our third question. We're going to go on to our fourth one, well, with the introductions.
Okay.
So Molly will go first on this question. And we have some things that are pretty similar, so I'm combining some to one question. So as a potential member of the city council, how will you represent the city fairly and objectively, not bringing in politics, religion, ideology, etc.? So Molly?
Well, I do a lot of that with my job. I deal with, for 22 years I've worked with people of all different religions, colors, politics, and even through the pandemic, I have a lot of different clients. At the end of the day though, for me, it's all about figuring out a way to find common ground with whoever I work with, figuring out a way to come up with solutions that are workable and reasonable for everybody involved, and that's why I think I'd be really good at this, because this is what I do every day for a living and have for the last 22 years.
Great, thank you. John, do you need the question again? Are you good?
I think I'm good.
Okay.
So I'm just going to give a little bit more background. While I was in law school, I actually ran for United States Congress in CD6 as an independent in the defunct Jesse Ventura Party, which gave me legal access equivalent to the Republicans and the Democrats. So I've been on Tom Hauser debating Tom Emmer, and I've been, on Tom Hauser debating the then Sartell Mayor Joe Persky. I am the definition of an independent. I quite literally build these bridges together and have done that for my entire professional life. That is my passion. I am in government and working in government because I have a passion for good governance, which requires us to be non-ideological. After I got done running as an independent, I took a Republican. I took George W. Bush's former White House Chief Ethics Counsel, and we ran him as a Democrat because I'm not ideological. I bring that up just to say what matters and what is on this sheet of paper right alongside these Taylor's Falls Blue Jays logos, which we really need to bring that back as a community. I'm gonna work that in real quick. Is logic, reason, solutions, and results. That's all that matters in local government. And so, if anybody is well positioned to bring that, I think that's you. That's it.
Great, thank you. Bob?
So, when I started this quest, I actually sat down with every single one of the current council members and the mayor. And one of the council members said, this is a non-political position. What we need to do is leave our politics and our religion at the door and not bring it into the city council. And I thought that was really wise. It's not partisan. We all need to do what's best for the city and be as transparent as we can with everybody. And if we do that, we should be all inclusive. Meaning there's nobody on the outside. We're one city. We're all citizens of this lovely city. And we need to come up with an identity for our city. We don't know what we are. It's not labeled anywhere. I think we're the most beautiful small town in Minnesota. And I might have a logo with something like that, but I'd like us to have an identity like that. And so if we could do that, that would be really cool. But we need to leave our politics and our religion at the door.
Thank you. Carol?
So, the way I've always approached working with people is to care about them as an individual, to treat them with respect. I might not agree with them, I might not even like them, but they still have worth and value, and that's how I want to treat people. That's how I want to be treated. You know, so it doesn't matter to me if we don't agree, if we have different perspectives. We each have a lot of worth and value, and that's the way that I would approach working with the citizens and with members of the council.
Thank you. Our next question is going to be a little more fun one. And John, you get to start again. And the question is, what do you think is the best thing about Taylor's Falls?
The Springs Inn Motel. Okay, that was not, I definitely have a plan to deal with that too, the legal background. But I honestly moved here because having left Forest Lake, me and my wife were looking for the single best place in the state of Minnesota to raise our children. And that is honest to God what we were looking for. Coming out of Forest Lake, my wife grew up in Hudson. We both traveled here for the, millions of people who come here over the years to enjoy your beautiful shores. And I say your because although I've been here for 8 years, I understand I'm not one of us yet, but I'm hoping my kids get to be. So the best thing about Taylor's Falls, in my opinion, is I've been extremely welcomed by this community. We don't have a lot of extended family, and my wife, so we come here, our kids go to the school, they're super well ingrained in this community from the library and the people who work down there. My kids can walk down this road, feel safe, people know who they are. I freaking love it here. I will empty myself into this town to try to help it because I love it so much and because of the support that I've gotten here over the last 8 years. And that's what I love about Taylor's Falls. I love you people. Hoping to get in my club one day.
Thank you. Bob?
I believe that Taylor's Falls is absolutely beautiful. And I love the small town feel. I love the people that I've gotten to know. And it's not like Lino Lakes. I lived in Lino Lakes for 35 years. And neighbors came and went, and I didn't get to know them very much. But I already know a lot of my neighbors and have been asked to out to dinner and to lunch and snacks, and this is such a great place to live. And what I love about it is that it's small town. I can know everybody in this town, and you know what, that pleases me. That's really fun. So it's beautiful and it's small town, and I want to get to know you all better.
Thank you. Carol?
Well, when you look at it, we have it all, don't we? We have this beautiful community, we have the Interstate Park, we have a very walking, I would say, community. I mean, on West Street, people are always walking by, and there's always the opportunity to say, hey, hi, how are you? It's a small town, but it's a caring town. And I think that that's one of the most important aspects and facets of our town. And I think that we do well to preserve that. And it's a challenge to preserve that because we do need to grow. We need to do more things, to help our city. We need to make sure that our businesses are flourishing, and not just during the summer, but all year long. So I think we've got a great group in our town, and I just think we need to support and care for each other.
Great, thank you. Molly?
Well, like I said, it took me about 8 years of hard work to get into Taylor's Falls. What I like about it is it's just truly an idyllic small town. I like that everybody knows everybody in town, not in a bad way, but in a good way. And you have a really nice sense of community. And one of my favorite things to do, because I live across the street from Angel Hill, if you haven't done it, is to walk through Angel Hill in the middle of the night. Because you feel like you're walking back in time. I just think the town itself is so beautiful. And I feel like there's so many great things we can do with this town and keep it just the way it is. And that's what I like most about the town. And I love the school. My kid is a TF kid, and he is a great kid. So really, the school too.
Great, thank you. Our next question will be for Bob first, and then we'll go around. Why are our taxes going up every year? I mean, we're all feeling this, right? And we're feeling it in Wyoming.
As a candidate for city council, I was asked to be on the budget committee discussions, and taxes continue to go up because the expenses of running the city keep on going up. And there may be ways to reduce that. I'd like to say, I know all the ways to do that, and vote for me and you'll get them. The truth is, I have some ideas. I talked to the mayor and some of the council people about them, and they said, that's probably not right. And I just took a step back and I said, okay, let me look at this again. And so I did, I just took a step back. Right now, because of infrastructure worries, I don't see the city budget decreasing. It's only going to go up. However, we need to get more businesses to Taylor's Falls to help take out that tax bite. And we can do that. I believe we can get some more people. We do have the Ironworks that bought the entire industrial park. That will help some, but we need more of those. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Carol?
Well, I wish that taxes didn't go up, but it really is a reality, isn't it? And I sat through the budget workshops as well, and I saw the council, really trying to say, can we decrease here? Can we cut this? But the problem with that is that then the services are decreased. So it's a real struggle, and our taxes go up because the cost of living is going up, the cost of doing business is going up, the cost of repairs and taking care of the infrastructure is all going up. I mean, I want to be one of the council members, that can be very fiscally responsible as far as when we decide on our budget. And I would really encourage everybody to come. These budget meetings are open to everybody. And I can't say we, but it's really an opportunity for everyone to have their input. And then we need to follow the budget, I know things come up that we don't plan for, but there also needs to be that cushion that is included in the budget as well.
Thank you, Carol. Molly?
Carol, you got time to break down for a second. Yeah, I've been sitting through the budget meetings, and I really appreciate the amount of time of those things, I think, mainly. I do think that we can do it though. I think that if people did sit in at the budget meetings, the biggest thing you would have learned was we're starting well far behind where we should have been. There was a lot of things that we didn't realize weren't either being maintained or being saved up for, like the fire truck and stuff like that. And as much as none of us like to pay higher taxes, and we don't, we're in the process of climbing out of a hole, and everybody at the city is working really, really hard to truly be very mindful and thoughtful about how we can do this the best that we can.
Great, thank you. John?
So, I'll say that in an earlier part of life, I used to vote Libertarian too, which was, Ronald Reagan said that Libertarianism was the essence of Republicanism. That's not exactly true. It's a much more fiscally restrained sort of ideology. And what you learn when you go through all that is you often cut your nose off to spite your face, and that's what the city council is learning on. We're learning that right now. There is no windfall in any of the little budgets that needs to be there, that needs to get built up so that we can incur pouring a bunch of chlorine into the water supply when we need to. That hadn't been done previously. This is a dig. There's just no other way around it. Now the other thing is, my job is to explain to people why their taxes are going up. Business owners, residents, I do this every day. And the reality is, the budget is never gonna get less. If you hold the budget at zero, that's the best you can hope for as far as, but all we're doing is shifting this tax burden among ourselves, guys, from this house to that business or what have you. And when it comes down to it, the cities that are small like this have to embrace commercial activity if they want to have small taxes as a resident. That's it. And what do we have in Taylor's Falls? We have a beautiful small town feel that we have to be very careful not to corrupt, of course, but that's the kind of businesses that would be willing to build quickly to come in here, like the boutique hotel that offered over across from the drive-in. Those kind of things will happen fast for a town like Taylor's Falls because and so this is a decision that the town has to make. Do we as a city want to embrace further economic development? Because that's the only way to go down.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, great job. I want to remind everyone that has submitted questions, if they were for a specific person, afterwards the candidates will stick around for a little while. You can ask those specifically to them, but the questions we're going to cover here in the large group will be ones that everyone can answer. And I know there was one submitted about something that happened in 2022 with the city council, and not everyone would be able to answer that, even without having all the details and background. So we won't be covering that one, but you can certainly ask each one of them afterwards. So our next question is going to be, Carol is going to be first. And this one is, what is your vision for the city and how could it be implemented? It's a little different than what we've talked about so far. Your vision for the city and then implementing it.
I think I'm probably a broken record, but my vision for the city is to kind of be that conduit of bringing people together. We all know that there are some holes and some gaps, in our community, in our city infrastructure and stuff. But I think that my vision is to really work together. And another part of my hope is I would really like to see the CERT team become reactivated again. I know that it's started to, but I grew up in...
Can you just say what that is? What is a CERT team?
Community Emergency Response Team. So I grew up in Wyndham, Minnesota, and this summer it flooded, the town flooded. And it's a town of 3,500 or something. And as I was looking on the website and stuff, there was such important information for homeowners, like if you have to evacuate your house, this is what you have to do. And I just thought, wow, I don't know those things. If there was something going on, I would hope that there would be some information from our city to help residents. like, this is what you have to do, and I don't think we're gonna have a flood, but you never know what the possibilities are that we could have. So I think it's really important that we look at where are we at with our preparedness.
Great, thank you. Molly?
Same question?
Yes, which is, what is your, you want to, I don't know how you can hear me.
Well, my vision for the town is I would really like to see a way that we can start connecting the residents back to town. As someone who lives in town, I'm sure that all of us don't come downtown on the weekends. Or you're going to the Menards at 6 o'clock in the morning, saving through the traffic. But it is the reality of being a tourist town, I get that. However, during the week, downtown is like a ghost town. And I'd really like to figure out ways that we can start collectively getting the community coming back to downtown, getting the businesses being more connected with the people that live in town, and start doing things that, not just feel like a resident, but feel like a community member. So that would be my biggest thing I'd really like to do is have to get the residents connected back into more of a sense of community.
Great, thank you. John?
So one of the biggest things I think we need to do is we really need to bring back the Taylor's Falls Blue Jays. I think that this idea of we're all wildcats and, I'm an elitist for Taylor's Falls. We have an awesome logo out there on the gym. That's the thing that we can bring the community together underneath the banner of the Blue Jay. I think that should be brought back. I'm gonna propose it to the TFPFE, get a fundraiser going, maybe a blanket, something, hats we can wear. That's a good thing. The other thing I would say is as a community of 1,000, here's the reality, guys. Taylor's Falls, our best opportunity is to become an economic engine that really embraces the tourism. I mean, that is the only way that we are gonna be able to drive down our taxes and create prosperity for us. We need to invite the wealthy money from the cities to come here and spend. And that means, struggling with some development issues on that other side of town by the drive-in, and we're gonna work through that. If we can get any industrial people up there, then that's what exactly we need to be doing. We have to drive commercial activity. We gotta get out there at these state government functions, at these federal government functions. I fought the federal government and beaten them in various things before. I fought the state government. Oftentimes, it's just about outworking these people and keep giving them the look in the eye that you're not gonna go away. You can beat down doors and get money. It does happen. But the reality is, most people on the council, they're either going to be retired or wealthy, and they're not going to be actively involved in the way that a young person is like me. That's why I think I need to do this, because I have the ability to actually put it together in my current capacity.
Great, thank you. Bob?
My vision for the city is to preserve its beauty and small town feel, but I also see the need to increase commerce and industry so the real estate tax burden doesn't fall almost exclusively on the residents. And we do that by somehow, when people are passing through or visiting Taylor's Falls, we have to have some attractions for them where they're spending money in Taylor's Falls. So that might mean a real hotel, not like the hotel we have, but a real one. And it might include a restaurant where we can all meet and hang out, like the Chisago House used to be, because that's where we gather, that's where we hang out. And right now, we don't have a place to hang out, except for here. We don't have a place to gather. I know that a lot of us gather in churches, which is great, but as a community, we don't have a great place to hang out, to connect, to be together. So I think that would be really cool. And that would also attract more visitors. And the visitors may be the way that we get money in the town.
Great, thank you. I think this might end up being the last question, and then if you have any other questions, please, might have time for one more after this. I've got one that was actually written to a single person, but I'm going to ask it for all the council members because I think it's a really important thing for us to know about you if you're going to be on city council. And how do you use discernment in decision making? There are big decisions that are coming up for the city. What is that discernment and process you're going to use in that decision making? And the first one is Molly for this question.
I didn't hear the whole question.
Oh, well, I'll say it here because it's written down a little differently. It's the wrong person. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so as a council member, it's going to be important to make good decisions. How do you use discernment, and what is that process you go through in making big decisions so that they're the best for the city of Taylor Falls?
I am a heavy overthinker, I know that. And so with anything
Can you say that one more time? I don't think we could understand what you said. You're a what kind of thinker?
A heavy overthinker.
Overthinker, thank you.
Yeah, sorry. I am a heavy overthinker, and I know that when it comes to the clients, I'm usually thinking 7 levels out from whatever it is we're doing. I'm trying to find the sweet spot on what really works and gives everybody most of what they want, but also you want to look into the future with most of the decisions that you're making. So I feel we've had a lot of experience doing that, and it worked really well for me and my clients, and that's how I would go about it with city stuff.
Great, thank you. John?
So, I think we can ground ourselves in a lot of the moral teachings we've all had, as Robert has said. I won't talk about that here, but I would say that my discernment is going to go something like this. I recognize I am an 8-year resident, and I recognize that there are people here who've been here a lot longer than me, so I'm going to heavily weight their opinions in the way that I am voting and in the way that I'm trying to pursue the goals that I have. So there's a twofold thing. I want to make sure I'm doing what's right for the people here because you guys have a lot of experience with this town. As much as I want to see us boom and do well economically, community-wise, I love the school, I love the principal, I want to see them have the money that they need to connect the sidewalk to the woods that they own and all the other things that everybody wants to do. But I want to make sure that all of that is, what the people want. So I'm going to make sure that goes first. And then the second question I'm going to ask myself is, do I have the bandwidth to accomplish this before I set out on a goal? Because the reality is in local government, it's going to fall on how much work can I do. It's often people think that they're going to come and make votes and change things, but that isn't actually it at all. We're offering to do a lot of free work. That's what I'm doing up here. I'm here to tell you that I'm going to go and try to get things done for you. And so my level of discernment will go from does this align with what the people want, and second, can I actually accomplish this goal given what I have for resources? Those are my levels.
Great, thank you. Bob?
So my thought processes will go like this. I want to know who the experts in the town are. And all the experts are the citizens. I work for the citizens. I want to know what the town is thinking. I want to know, I'm going to be talking to you. And so I'm going to find out what you think about an issue and how important is it to you. And then when I vote, I'm going to do what's best for the citizenry and what's best for the city. That'll be my thought process. I work for you. If I get elected, I work for you. That's my thought process.
Thank you. Carol?
Those were a lot of the same thoughts that I had. I am a team player. I love working with a team. I love gathering information. I love sitting down and brainstorming with people. And I also am a lifelong learner. If I don't understand something, I love to look into it and dig into it and really try to come to a thorough understanding of it. And then I feel that my discernment is kind of guided by the information that I gathered along with what the team is kind of saying and what the people are saying. I definitely wholeheartedly agree with what's been said as far as the council is not in and of itself. The council is you, the residents of Taylor's Falls, are what drives the city government. And that's what I really hope to help accomplish.
Awesome, thank you. Any questions that are written that haven't been turned in? Okay, well, I wanna, if this is okay, but I am a moderator. I wanna do something, we still have a couple minutes left. I'd like to give each of you 30 seconds just to give your closing, why you run, why should everybody vote for you. So, it's your turn to be first, John, we'll just do 30 seconds. Is that okay with you? All right, perfect.
Yeah, sure. So I was invited to join the planning commission a few weeks ago. That's how this all started for me. I did that. I went to the planning commission meeting, and at that time there was one person running for city council. There was like 2 hours left to file. So I was like, okay, I definitely need to do this for my community. And then I found out I'm in a 4-person race. So I mean, here's the dead honest to God truth, guys. I mean, Carol's gonna have more time than me. Robert's gonna have more time than me. Molly's gonna have more time than me. But I can be very effective. I mean, from an early age, I was a national champion wrestler. I can be the meanest guy in the valley for you. That's what I offer.
Thank you. Bob?
I like to think that I'm really well connected. I'm a CPA and I'm a commercial realtor. So I know a lot of commercial properties or commercial owners that would like to put restaurants in certain places. I'm going to sell them on Taylor's Falls. I would love to do that. Love to help. Love to work for this city. I want to do and make this city a better city because I live here and because I'm a council member.
Thank you. Carol?
Yeah, 30 seconds isn't very long.
It's quick, just a quick snippet.
So I would really love to have events. I'm so glad that we have an event like this, but I would love to have more events to give people an opportunity to hear their viewpoint, but also to just get together and to talk about what are your concerns, what is it that you want to see in the city. That's what my passion is to connect the city with the city government.
Awesome, thank you. Molly?
I think what I can bring to the table and what I really want to do is I am a very hard worker. And I fight the good fight. I fight the good fight for my clients. I fight the good fight for what I feel is right. And I think the city needs some people who are going to come in and work hard, fight, make the connections, help people, connect with people, and that's what I aim to do.
Perfect 30 seconds.
Perfect.
Well, let's have a round of applause, please. Taylor's Falls, I feel like you'll be in good hands. What a great forum to get to know more about you. Very interesting, well thought out answers. I think there are a lot of awesome skills up here that could be put to use for the town. I want to move to Taylor's Falls, but it might take me 8 more years. No, I live on the lake, and we're real happy over there. But we love our county, and we love coming over here and through here. And it's a dream to live in a town like this and working together. I do believe you'll all have just some great things to come in the next few years. So thank you very much for having me. I think that they'll be around for a little bit if you want to ask specific questions to candidates, and have an awesome evening. Thanks, everybody.